Hello, everybody. I'm Gary R. Lindberg. I'm here to talk to you about my new book, uh, Truth or Fiction. The God, excuse me, God's existence, truth or fiction, the answer revealed. I am here to discuss the different chapters, and in turn, and begin with the first chapter where I start my study on whether or not God exists. And this time, I trying to find proof that God exists, because I heard that all the time I kept hearing that there is no proof that God exists. Well, I accepted the challenge and I decided to find out for myself, find out if there's any evidence. So this book is a study about that, and I invite the reader to come along with me on a journey. And I kind of liken the book to a train going from station to station from San Francisco to New York, for example. And at each stop, we learn a little more as we proceed until we find the end of our journey. And to begin, I want to take the reader with me on the various stops, which include botany, anatomy, astronomy, mathematics, chemistry, and physics. And as we do this, I will also delve into the issue of creationism versus science. And so I make a very simple statement in the beginning that the answer may be more clear than many people realize, and even much more simple than many people believe. And so to make sense of the world we live in is a common need for all of us. We want to know how we fit into this world. What is our purpose? Why are we here on this earth? What are we meant to do? These are questions that many of us ask, and I wouldn't be surprised if you asked them too. And so I'm trying to reach my purpose and trying to explain what the existence of God represents. And when we look back in time, we find the ancient societies had their beliefs in gods. That was a kind of a device that humankind developed to explain what they couldn't explain any other way. They couldn't understand why they had these influences on them, why things happened to them. So they have this concept of gods. And the Greeks were one of the more prominent societies that did that. And they invented gods like Zeus. Zeus was the chief god, and they had Aphrodite, Apollo, Ares, Athena, Dionysus, Hades, Hera, Hermes, Poseidon. Some of these names you may be familiar with. Well, some time later, the Romans came on the scene, and they developed their gods. Jupiter was their chief god, Ceres, Apollo, Diana, Juno, Mars, Mercury, Minerva, Neptune, Venus, and Vulcan. These are a lot of these names are familiar to us, aren't they? Well, they weren't the only ones. The Vikings, the northern people, they developed their gods as well, and they had Odin as their chief god, and then they had other gods like Freya, Thor, Baldur, Heimdall, Loki, Hel, Skadi, Sif, Tyr. And in fact, the Vikings went maybe a little bit step further by inventing creatures that affected your daily lives as people then. Finri wolf, Jormungandr, the Jotun, the Kraken, Odin's ravens, and the Valkyries. All these gods were to help humankind to understand why they had these influences on them and why things happened to them the way they did. But they helped in giving them this help. It helped them to understand the origins and the significance of their own existence and the ritual practices that they had. The gods gave them a greater sense of safety and security, so that they had better understanding of what was happening to them. After I had talked about how having gods was important to people's lives, I sought to explain why that was important to them. And in school, I happened to study the theory by Abraham Maslow, who developed the theory of motivation, which he called the hierarchy of needs. And in this theory by Dr. Maslow, who is a psychologist at Brandeis University, he suggested that humans are perpetually wanting beings. We always want something. We always have personal needs from birth to death, all our lives, and we strive to fulfill our current needs according to the importance in a hierarchy of categories. So these 5 levels were psychological, safety, social, ego, self-fulfillment. Those are, again, our physiological, safety, social, ego, and self-fulfillment needs. So the psychological or physiological needs are basically the need to survive or self-preservation. We all have that need. We all want to survive. And this category ranks as the most important motivator of behavior, according to Maslow. When it's become satisfied, then it kind of loses its potency as a motivator. And so then the next level up is the level for safety. When this need seeks protection from things like danger, threats, discrimination, favoritism. We all don't like those things, and we want to avoid them. And when this need is satisfied, then he or she will not suffer unjust or unpredictable actions by supervisors or other powerful people or anything like that. So then that person's needs change to more social needs. The next level up. Social needs are basically a desire to belong. We want to be part of a group. Social needs also include the desire to have friends, to help others, to be helped. So there's a higher level of satisfaction that we get when we reach these needs. And next in the hierarchy of needs stand ego needs, as Maslow termed it. These needs are those needs that make a person able to feel comfortable with himself or herself and include self-respect. Don't we all want to have self-respect? Also status or recognition or honor. And we want to have relative superiority and something worthwhile in our lives. Well, these are very, very important to us. And if the ego needs become reasonably satisfied, according to Maslow, the self-fulfillment or self-actualization needs, as he also called them, emerge as determinants of human behavior or individual behavior. So these constitute needs to develop ourselves into something which we are really most capable of becoming. We want to be the best that we can be as humans or as people. So I suggest that when we look at Maslow's work, we can better understand why people in ancient Greece, Rome, or elsewhere, as well as people today, we still have this need today. When in the 21st century, and when we feel this need to believe in something higher than ourselves, we think that there's maybe something that affects us and that we can't control, and so this is why we have a need to feel these various needs, and why we have the need to feel that there might be something, a superior being that we might want to believe in. So this is the beginning of our journey. This is where we start to investigate what we're going to do in terms of finding evidence that God exists. This is our first station that we're at, if we use the analogy of the train. And next time we will talk about the second station, where we'll get into another subject, but basically we'll talk about science and in our next stop. So this is what we have. Excuse me. This is what we wanted to talk about to begin with. And if you have any questions you want to ask me, you're welcome to write me at garylindberg85@gmail.com. Or you can go to my website at https:// and you will see not only my books that I have recently published, but where to buy them if you're interested. So, and there's a page there for contact. You can contact me if you want to ask me a question, you want to say what you think instead, and you disagree with me, you're welcome to contact me, and I'll be happy to respond. So for now, I think that's what I want to offer to you. And next time we'll talk a little more about science. So I will thank you, and I thank Pastor Kevin for allowing me this opportunity. And I wish you well, and may God bless.
God's Existence, Truth or Fiction? The Answer Revealed, written by author Gary R. Lindberg, is a scientific study about the proof of God's existence. Lindberg examines scientific theories about the origin of life and the Bible's creation story. His approach is different, as he suggests that both science and the Bible say the same thing. Lindberg offers a powerful theory for readers to contemplate while presenting a unique conclusion. God's Existence, Truth or Fiction? The Answer Revealed is now available at your favorite online bookstore.